in example 14, and I believe the last one in this chapter, we have we are supposed to shade the region that satisfies the inequality 2x, or 2y rather, 2y 2y plus x is less than 14, and the second one is y is greater than or equals to x squared minus 3x minus 4. And what we are supposed to do, you can see we have two inequalities, and the very first step, we should first of all cease to see inequalities and start seeing the equation. So we have 2y plus x is equal to 14. And this one is just an equation which we can easily tabulate in terms of x and y. When x is 0, y is supposed to be 2y is supposed to be 14, and y is supposed to be 7. We can talk about when x is 4, let's see, 2y plus 4 is equals to 14, and therefore 2y is 14 minus 4, which is 10, and y is equals to 5. Those 2 points are just enough because it's a linear equation. We plot those 2 lines and produce the line on both sides. It is the quadratic equation that we must deal with very closely, and we're talking about y is equals to x squared minus 3x minus 4. Again, we are expected to deal with this one as an equation, and we have x squared minus 3x minus 4 is equals to 0. If we resort to use the factor method, we can already see that b is minus 3 and ac is minus 4. And the factors are just straightforward. We have minus 4 plus 1 and minus 4 times 1. So we have x squared plus x minus 4x minus 4 giving us 0. So we have x plus 1 minus 4 x plus 1 giving us 0. So at the end of the day, we're going to have x minus 4 multiplied by x plus 1 giving us 0. And if that is true, either bracket here can be 0. At one point, x can be equals to 4 if we take this first bracket to be 0, or x can be equals to negative 1 if we take this second bracket to be 0. Now, these are what we are calling the critical. These are the critical values where the curve cuts the x-axis. They are the critical values. Now we need to ask ourselves, we need now to plot this graph, these two graphs in the same set of axes. And because we are expected to solve the inequality, we have those sets of axes, and to start with, let us just plot this. If we are talking of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and when x is 0, y is 7. When x is, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, y is 5. So we have a line that follows that route, and if we produce that line, then we can see it's going to be that route. Let us name that line. That line itself is 2y plus x is equals to 14. That is the name of that line. All right, let us now plot this curve. The critical values are negative 1 and positive 4. Negative 1, and this is negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and positive 4. And let us just plan the nature If we plan the nature of the curve, we can see A is positive, is greater than 0, meaning that we are going to have a U-shaped graph. We're going to have a U-shaped graph. So it's cutting through there and there, but it's a U-shaped graph. We can expect something like that. It is a U-shaped kind of a graph. And you can see that graph cuts the line at this particular point and at that particular point. So what is now the question? The question was asking, on the graph paper, shade the region that satisfies the inequality. We have that inequality and this other inequality. So it is time now to remember that we had not been given equations. In fact, we had inequalities. And if you look at this first linear graph, there is no equal to aspect, and therefore the line is supposed to be broken. We are supposed to have actually started with a broken line. That is the name of the line. Now, and we are supposed to talk about 2y plus x is less than 14. If we examine that particular line with a point of reference, which is 0, 0, when x is 0 and y is 0, if we substitute this in the two equations, in the equation 1, 2 times 0 plus 0, is that less than 14? That is the question we need to ask ourselves. So this is 0 plus 0, of course giving us 0, and it is very correctly less than 14. So at the end of the day, this particular point lies in the wanted region as far as the broken line is concerned, because 0 being less than 14 makes a lot of sense, or rather that point 0, 0 satisfies that inequality. Now we go to the second line, and within the second line we can still use the point 0, 0 and find out what is going to happen. At this particular point of origin, y is 0, and is 0 greater than or equals to x is 0. This second term gives us 0 minus 4. So at the end of the day, we are going to have 0 is greater than or equals to minus 4. Does this make sense? Yes. When we are talking about greater than, it is true, 0 is greater than minus 4. So this particular point also, the point of origin 0, 0, it satisfies also the second inequality. So it is also in the wanted region as far as this continuous curve is concerned. And why continuous? Because we have the equality part of it. We have an aspect of equal that is already expressed in the inequality. Therefore, if the question is shade the region that satisfies the inequalities given, if we shade that region, that shaded region is the region that satisfies both of these inequalities. Because pick any point in that particular region. Pick even 2, 2. Pick even 2, 2. Does point 2, 2 make sense? As far as the first one is concerned, 2 times 2, 4, plus 2, that is 6. 6 is obviously less than 14, so it makes sense. What about 2? 2 is greater than 4 minus 6, that is minus 2. Minus 2 minus 4 is minus 6. So 2 again is greater than negative 6, which also makes a lot of sense. At the end of the day, you realize that the shaded region satisfies both of these inequalities. And that is just like it. If you try to take any other point, like 2 minus 2, or any other point outside the shaded region, and examine it, like let's talk about let's talk about 4, 410, 410. Let's talk about a point that is far outside the shaded region and examine it within these two. Y is 10 and x is 4. Let's examine it. When x is 4, 2 times 4 plus 10, is that less than 14? This is already 8 plus 10, which is 18. 18, is it less than 14? Question mark. And the answer is no. So it doesn't support or it doesn't satisfy this inequality, and therefore it is in the unwanted region. So the shaded region satisfies both of these regions. Okay?